Hi, Abraham.
She's going to adjust that microphone just a little bit for you.
A little closer. Okay. Hi.
She hardly ever knocks anyone's teeth out.
I'm relieved to hear that. And it's kind of the issue for me is I'm right on the edge of getting what you're talking about and losing it. And where I sort of go with is who or what or where is this I? The I that I've heard one of my teachers said was the losers in the cosmic crap game. We get to be human and forget who we really are. Or Abraham implies that I am aware of 5% of who I really am. So I is, to me, the observer, or how do I know myself? I'm aware of my thoughts. I'm aware of listening to you. I is somewhere floating around in here. It's kind of a concept for me. I'm not sure it's a place. It seems like it's real when I say I guess I understand what I'm talking about, but also I think the I is, and I studied to be a priest for a while, and I was pleased to hear that in the word, the language Aramaic that Jesus spoke, the word for sin, meant to miss the target. It didn't mean you were bad. It just meant you missed the bullseye. Just, when you know who you really are, then there's no sin. So sinners just don't know who they really are. When you know who you really are, then you are all of it.
Well, sin is the literal expression of sin is just without the fullness of who I am. And it doesn't mean that you have done something wrong and so someone else is withholding from you something in punishment. It means that in your vibrational state of being, you are disallowing the fullness of who you are. So we make it sort of complicated when we try to identify let us start in this way. When we visit with you, and you have been present in gatherings, you know what it feels like. We always enjoy coming together. You dragged your physical bodies here, and you've been grappling with life. You've been trying to wrestle your kids to the ground and get them to do what you need them to do. And so always as you gather, there's a lot of stuff going on vibrationally in a gathering like this. And then as we begin to play together, and as we ramble from our point of vibrational alignment with all that you really are, as you are kind enough to join us worldwide, over 100 countries coming to play with us in these broadcasts these days, as you come with your bodies, as you come with your mind, as you come with your focus, and we ramble and you focus, as we speak from the point of view of who you really are, you can't spend too much time listening to us. Really, 10 minutes is enough before you find resonance with the fullness of who you are. And it's that feeling of resonance that we desire that you begin reaching for, rather than trying to get glimpses in any other way. Just feel it. You know when a feeling of clarity comes over you. You know when that feeling of aha-ness comes. You know when that feeling of comfort comes. You know how when you just feel the all-rightness with where you are in any moment. That's that resonance with the fullness of who you are. And that's who you are. And anything less than that is without who you are. It's some sort, and we don't like the word sin because it has been so misunderstood for so long. But anytime you deprive yourself, and only you can do it, or pinch yourself off even a little bit and only you can do it, from the fullness of who you are, anytime you're mad at somebody, even when they've done something really screwy and stupid, every time you're mad at them, you are without the viewpoint of source, and you miss that. The viewpoint of source is important to the way you feel in a moment. It's important to who you are. Because when source is being allowed by you in a moment, you just feel so good. You evoke the best from the moment. You just dance and fly high and have fun and have clarity. And that's the way you intended to live. Not one of you came to prove yourself worthy. It's such an interesting thing to watch humans line up with each other in a comparative dance, feeling competition about each other, and in your competitive nature, instead of inspiring each other to greatness, instead what you do is diminish your own greatness, and you know it. That's what that feeling of jealousy is. a feeling of jealousy, or a feeling of not enoughness, or a feeling of vulnerability, or a feeling of I should be more than I am and I need to be doing something different, all of those feelings are feelings which are indicators of your discord, which is depriving you to some degree of the fullness of who you are. So that's why we begin today talking about the emotional manifestation, because we think you're hitting upon the thing that's the most important thing of all, and that is knowing who you are, but not just knowing who you are, being who you are. Esther's been playing with emotional words, wanting to for herself personally to sort of ferret out what they mean. And what they mean is only how they feel. And so when she thinks of an emotion like hope, she can feel some vulnerability in hope, because hope is hopeful. Hope is not quite there. Hope is not where the source within her is, because source knows. So then she thinks about the word faith. Faith feels like hope a little bit to Esther. To some, faith feels more certainty, but to Esther, faith feels sort of hopeful. Esther likes the word belief more than the word. Esther likes the feeling of belief more than the feeling of hope. She likes the feeling of belief more than the feeling even of faith, because faith is sort of, she's heard so long, faith is about knowing something that you can't see, but you can't see it part's too big for her, so it's still something missing. So faith and hope don't feel as good as belief, but trust. Now that's a good feeling word, trust. Trust and knowing feel the same to Esther. Knowing feels the same. Knowing and trust feel the same. Well, knowing feels even better to us than trust, because trust is a little outside of you, where knowing. And so now we're using these words, we're using emotional words, because we're wanting to evoke vibration within you, because we want you to realize that who you are is a vibrational feeler. And when you come in a moment where you're having a conversation or an interaction with anyone in life, and you feel love, you feel appreciation, you feel elation, you feel passion, you feel that frisky, robust, passionate awareness of life, that's who you are. So we've taken this conversation completely away from the direction that you were putting it, because we don't want you to think your way there so much as feel your way there, because everything that you are will bring about this responding feeling, you see. And what all of this conversation really rests on, what the basis of it is you have to accept that you were source energy before you came into this physical body, but that you still are source energy. And the source is right here with you. In other words, it's easy for some of you to witness Esther in this mode of allowing and receiving Abraham. It's hard not to acknowledge that something's going on that is other than Esther's human experience. Her mind is working so fast. Her vibrational frequency is so high. If you put a meter on her, it would freak you out in terms of what's going on vibrationally. Doctors would worry about her if they were monitoring her in this moment, because it is not a normal human experience to be so aligned and so allowing with so much source flowing through you. But you are experiencing the same thing. In other words, Esther's doing the interpreting of that which we are, but you're out there all around the world feeling the fullness of who you are, reveling and resonating in this knowledge. So as you feel this, do you feel the fullness of who you are right now? Don't you just know that everything's all right with you? Aren't you feeling more sure in every moment, even as we're focused here together, that you are source energy in physical bodies? And don't you feel sort of eager to express the sourceness of yourself in moment after moment? Aren't you feeling it more than you did when you walked in the door? Aren't you feeling it more maybe than you've ever felt it in your life? Or maybe it's just us. Maybe we just feel it. But what we're getting at here is it's those feelings that you're reaching for. That's the main event. That's always what you're reaching for. Don't try too hard to figure it out. Don't try too hard to figure it out in terms of of conversation. Don't try too hard to figure out what your point of view is. Just feel your point of view and know that your point of view, when you are really in sync with the wholeness of who you are, which is what your question is about and what you must experience, because once you experience it, you can't go back. Once you feel that and know that you've felt it, then just feel for it again and again and again. And don't accept anything less than that. Don't accept confusion. It's not who you are. Don't accept anger toward other humans. It's not who you are. Don't accept vulnerability. It's not who you are. When you feel it, know that it's not who you are and feel yourself into alignment.